Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we try to make sense of the weird and wonderful world of corporate filings. Today we are diving into some news from Avient Corporation that might just tell us if they are still on the right track or heading for a cliff. So Avient Corporation is a company that makes specialized polymer materials. Think of all the plastic things you see every day, from car parts to packaging to electronics. Avient is one of the companies that helps design and create the fancy plastic materials that make those things work and look good. They just put out a report about their earnings for the third quarter of 2025. Now, earnings reports are like a company's report card. They tell us how much money the company made, how much it spent, and generally how it is doing financially. This particular report is a Form 8K, which companies use to announce big news that could be important for their investors. You may know Avient by its stock ticker symbol AVNT. They are traded on the New York Stock Exchange. The main point of this report is that Avient released a press release on the 5th of November 2025 talking about their results for the third quarter. This press release is what we are going to dig into. Remember, this isn't a full financial report like a 10Q or 10K. It is more of a summary that kicks off the conversation about their finances. The report itself is dated the 5th of November 2025, which is the same day they are sharing their third quarter numbers. This tells us they are getting this information out to the public pretty quickly after the quarter ended, which investors usually appreciate. So, what did Avient's third quarter of 2025 look like? Well, the press release, which is included as an exhibit in this filing, is where all the juicy financial details are. Press releases often focus on the highlights, so it is our job to figure out what those highlights really mean. We are going to be looking at how Avient performed. Did they sell more of their fancy plastic materials? Did their profits go up or down, and are they making smart moves for the future? Companies in this industry, the specialty chemicals and materials sector, are often sensitive to what is happening in the broader economy. Things like manufacturing activity, consumer spending, and even global supply chains can really impact their business. Avient, as a provider of crucial components for so many industries, is no exception. Their success hinges on other businesses doing well and needing their products. Let's think about their position. They are a major player, and with companies like this, you often see them trying to innovate and offer more advanced sustainable solutions. The world is increasingly focused on greener materials and processes, so any company that can lead in that area is likely to have a strong future. We will be looking for signals in their earnings report that show if they are indeed moving in that direction, or if they are still focused on traditional offerings. Now, while this is a summary filing, the press release itself is the core of the story. Companies usually put their best foot forward in these releases, but sometimes the numbers can tell a different tale. We will be looking for any hints of challenges they might be facing. Are they seeing increased competition? Are the costs of the raw materials they use going up significantly? These are the kinds of things that can really affect a company's bottom line. We also need to consider the broader market. Is the demand for the products Avient's customers make growing or shrinking? For instance, if the automotive industry is booming, Avient's sales of plastic components for cars should be strong. If the construction sector is slowing down, that might impact their sales of materials used in buildings. They also have sections in these filings about risks. While this 8K focuses on results, the press release might touch on how they are managing these risks. Things like economic downturns, changes in regulations, or even disruptions from natural disasters can all pose a threat to a company's operations and profits. Let's consider for a moment what this means in the bigger picture for Avient. Are they expanding their product lines? Are they investing in new technologies? Or are they simply maintaining the status quo? Their strategy will dictate their long-term success, and their earnings report is a snapshot of how that strategy is currently playing out. It is always a good idea to compare these results to what analysts were expecting. If a company beats expectations, that is usually seen as a positive sign. If they miss expectations, investors can get nervous and the stock price might drop. This report doesn't give us those analyst expectations directly, but the press release might offer some commentary on how they view their own performance against the market. Looking at the details of the filing, it is signed by Jamie A. Beggs, who is the Senior Vice President and Chief Financial Officer. This is a standard part of these reports, indicating that the company's financial leadership has reviewed and approved the information. This person's role is crucial. They are responsible for managing the company's finances, including its financial planning, risk management, record keeping, and financial reporting. So when they sign off on a report like this, it carries weight. The date of the signature, the 5th of November 2025, confirms that the report is being officially submitted on that day. Now, let's get to analyzing the potential story within the financial highlights that Avient likely provided in their press release. Usually, these press releases will tell us about revenue, which is the total money they brought in from selling their products. they will often talk about earnings per S-share, which is a key metric that shows how much profit is attributable to each outstanding share of common stock. This is a really important number because it directly impacts how much value each shareholder might receive. They might also discuss adjusted earnings, which can exclude certain one-time or non-recurring items to give a clearer picture of the ongoing operational performance. Companies sometimes use these adjusted numbers to highlight what they believe are the core results, but it is always wise to look at the unadjusted numbers too. The commentary in the press release will likely also touch on things like sales volumes in different segments or regions. If they are seeing strong growth in their North American operations, but a slowdown in Europe, that is valuable insight into their global strategy and the economic conditions in those areas. A key thing to watch for is any mention of their debt. Companies often use debt to fund their operations and growth. While some debt is normal, too much debt can be a risk, especially if interest rates rise or if the company's earnings decline. The press release might indicate if they are paying down debt or taking on new loans. Finally, companies like Avient often talk about their outlook for the future. This is their guidance to investors about what they expect to happen in the next quarter or the rest of the year. This can include revenue projections, profit forecasts, and any anticipated challenges or opportunities. This part is crucial for investors trying to decide if they want to buy, sell, or hold on to the company's stock. It is important to see if their guidance matches their past performance. If they had a great quarter but are forecasting a weak future, that could be a cause for concern. If they had a moderate quarter but are optimistic about the future, that could signal a turnaround. In essence, while this 8K filing itself is brief, it points us to the press release, which is the real meat of the story for this particular update, giving us a snapshot of Avient's financial health and their strategic direction in the complex world of specialized materials. So, looking at Avient's likely third quarter report, we're trying to understand if they're growing strongly or just treading water. If their sales are up, that is great, meaning more companies are buying their plastics. If their profits are also up, it means they are managing their costs well. If their profits are down despite higher sales, that is a red flag, suggesting their costs are increasing faster than their revenue. Imagine if you sold 20% more pies but made 30% less money from each pie sold. That's not a good sign for your bakery. We want to see if they are gaining market share or losing ground to competitors. Are they innovating with new, more sustainable materials that customers are asking for? That is a strength. If they are lagging in innovation, that is a weakness that could hurt them down the road. A notable risk for any company like Avient is the volatility of raw material prices. If the cost of the oil or natural gas they use to make plastics suddenly spikes, their profits can take a big hit unless they can pass those costs on to their customers, which isn't always easy. My take on Avient based on what these reports typically aim to convey is that they are likely trying to position themselves as a leader in sustainable and advanced material solutions. This is a smart move given global trends. The real question is how quickly they can make this transition profitable. If they are reporting strong growth in their specialty or sustainable product lines, that is a very positive indicator for their future direction. However, if they are still heavily reliant on older, less profitable product segments, that could be a drag on their performance. Ultimately, whether Avient is truly on a strong upward trajectory depends on the specific numbers in that press release. But by understanding what to look for revenue growth, profit margins, innovation and sustainability, and managing costs, we can get a pretty good idea of the company's health and its prospects. Alright, that is our breakdown of Avient's latest filing. What is your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching, see you next time.